Welcome to the Rewards Master YouTube channel. If you would take just a minute to both hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel, that helps me to get more subscribers and helps the channel to grow. And I really appreciate it, and it costs you nothing. Well, here at the Rewards Master, we talk about all things points and miles. We talk about travel and upgrading our lives in the most economical way possible. We examine things like hotel status and airline status. We talk about how to get outsized value and trips for free. So if those are your kind of things, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. Today, I want to talk to you about what I think has been the very best credit card. I mean, hands down, no competition. And then how it's went through some changes, but some people have views that it's gotten worse. Some people think it's gotten better. And that is the American Express Hilton Aspire card. Now, my relationship with American Express is up and down, and I think that's kind of true of most creators because you hear about people, well, I'm in pop-up jail for a while. Now, I'm not in pop-up jail for a while. If you're in pop-up jail, nobody knows the algorithm or the reasons for that, but I will tell you that when I was in pop-up jail, I just needed to spend money on their cards, and then it was all over very quick. So maybe that's a good strategy. Put some spend on their cards, and it might help you to be able to remedy that situation. But when it comes to the Hilton Aspire, the way that it has been for years and years, and I have the card, I love the card, I consider it my number one card. It's close between it and the City Prestige. If you listen to my channel much, you know that I really love the City Prestige, which isn't available anymore. But I think the Hilton Aspire edges it out. If I could only keep one, that would be the one I would keep. So it has been great. It was a $450 annual fee for years and years. It gave you a free annual night certificate, and there just is no comparison. You can't look at other credit cards from Hyatt, even though they have good cards, and from Marriott, they have some good cards, and IHG, and I have cards actually from all of them, and I get their free night certificates, but nobody's free night compares to the one that you get with Hilton, because it pretty much is good for any standard night award at any hotel in the world. So, I mean, I guess there might be one or two few exceptions, but for the most part, any hotel. I've stayed in Waldorf Astorias that would be $700, $800, $1,000 a night, and you can use this certificate. My personal strategy is I have the business card from Hilton. If you spend $15,000, you get another free night. I get the free night from the Hilton Aspire. And so we take a little weekend type vacation with it, 2 nights, stack them together, and it is awesome because we get to stay in places that frankly we would never pay for to stay in ourselves. So it is absolutely, nobody else compares. Now it has to be a standard room night, not a premier room night or premium or whatever they call it. And you might say, well, yeah, but that's going to limit it. Well, I have found that yes, some nights, some properties don't have any standard room availability, but for the most part, every single property at some point or another, if you look around and if you're flexible in your schedule, they're going to have some standard room availability. You can kind of tell real quick whether the rooms are like 100,000 points a night or like 700,000 points a night or really, really high. And you know, if they're really, really high, when you first look at that first screen that tells you the point values, you'll know that they don't have any standard night available. So their room that they gave with that $450 was worth more than the $450, far more. So right there, you had positive value. Then they gave a $250 airline credit for incidentals. Now, I hate the way American Express does the incidentals thing, but there was a workaround, and I would use the United Travel Bank and actually be able to use it for tickets and things. And to do that, by the way, if you use the United Travel Bank, make sure that you do it in small increments, like $50, $100, $100, or something like that, because that tends to be the most surefire way to trigger the credit. And then they also gave you diamond status, which is the highest level. And every single time I've stayed in any Hilton, I've gotten some kind of upgrade. Now, sometimes it's just like do a Premier King room, which is just a little bit better room with a little bit better view, but it still feels pretty awesome to always be told, well, thank you for being your loyalty and you're being a diamond member, and we want to give you this upgrade. And then I've gotten upgrades to suites as well. So the diamond status, you also get free food or free breakfast, depending on if you're in the United States or outside. I think that's an underrated benefit. I know a lot of people don't like the food credits in the US, but you know, another 15 to 25, and if there's two of you, 30 to 50 bucks a day. That helps with the overall cost of the trip, and it's about maximizing value. So that diamond status it's probably worth the $450 by itself. And then they gave a Hilton Resort credit of 250 bucks, and that was easy to use. Now you had to go to a Hilton Resort, so you got to do your research to figure out which ones. And by the way, just because it says Hilton Resort in the name doesn't mean it's a resort. You got to look on the property, like the details of the property and those little icons. If it says resort, then it's a resort. And there's also a list online. And I would go to that list and then double check on the app, make sure that it says resort with that little icon. But if you do, anything you charge to your room, be it your room cost, be it food in the restaurant, whatever it may be, or the spa or whatever, then it's going to take 250 bucks off. That's the way the card was. Well, recently they just changed it and they completely revamped it. They raised the annual fee to $550, and then they changed the credits completely. They lowered the airline credit to $200 a year, and they broke it into, in typical American Express modus operandi, in their typical fashion, they changed the credit to $50 every quarter. And so you've got to use it $50 January through March, and then April through June, you got to use another $50. But they changed it where it no longer had to be incidentals, and you could use it on any airline. You didn't have to choose one airline like before. And so now you can use it on airfare. Well, for me, that's not a bad thing because I fly every quarter. I fly for work, and we like to take little trips together. So my wife and I, so we use that anyway. I'm going to be flying anyhow. So I just have in my little spreadsheet about all my points and miles, make sure that I use for my first flight every quarter that I pull out the Aspire and I pay for that travel on that card, and I'm going to get my 50 bucks. So 250 down to 200, that's a loss, but yet the flexibility. And I know for some people, if you don't travel a lot, maybe that's a downside. But for me, it's an upside. I think it's a positive benefit, or at least a wash when it comes to that one. Now, the second thing they changed is they changed the credit at resorts. They give you more now. They give you $400 at resorts rather than the $250, broken into two $200 credits. Now, when it comes to that credit is the same exact as before, except that it has to be used in 2 6-month increments. Again, typical American Express coupon book type of approach. So on the first 6 months, you got to use the $200 credit, again, at a resort only, and then again for the second half of the year. Now, that made me change our travel style a little bit because typically I just tried one big trip at a Hilton. But now all I've done is I've made an adjustment. Again, every 6 months, we're for sure staying in hotels. So I made an adjustment. I'll stay at a hotel that's a resort and look it up and make sure we stay at least a 2-night, or I guess it could even be 1 night since it's a credit. But we'll go for a little 2 nights and the first $200 of our room rate. And some of those resorts, you might think, well, resorts, those are $400 or $500 a night. Yeah, the ones you use the travel certificate on need to be, but they have some resorts that are $150, $175 a night. So you're getting at least another free night from that. And so to me, yeah, it's a little bit harder to use, but it's more money. So yeah, it's a benefit. Now the annual fee went up, but you still get the diamond status. You're still the top level with Hilton. You still get that incredible free night certificate, and you're still getting a much easier to use if you travel enough to use it. Now that's what you've got to determine for yourself. Airline credit, and you're getting more in when it comes to the resort credit. So is it a positive thing? Well, in my estimation, I think the best card in the world just got better. At least that's how I think about it. Now, you might disagree, and I'd love to hear your comments below. So tell me if you think that it's gotten worse, if it doesn't work for your situation, then I'd love to hear why. But as we consider the Hilton Aspire going forward, even if you didn't use all the credits, even if you used only a couple of the airline credits, even if you only used one of the resort credits, if you're utilizing that diamond status and if you're using that free night, you're still getting more than $550. Guaranteed. So I have a love-hate relationship with American Express. As I've said in previous videos, I am not a fan of what people think is the best thing, which is their platinum card. Doesn't work for me at all. I don't see how the math adds up. But when this card is considered, the Hilton Aspire, the math in my mind, it's just like paying me. It's paying me. So consider it for yourself. Put your comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.